I got to look good at least once in my lifetime.
Let's see, it's 5:31. I'll call the meeting to order. Item 2, public comment. Raquel, do we have anybody from the public?
No, we do not.
Got it. Moving on to item number 3, approval of prior minutes, July 7th, 2025. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, I will.
Thanks, Woody.
Oh, we have to keep it
Second?
in,
Yeah, no,
I'll second it.
okay, thanks. It's good to change things up. Keep the minutes checkers on their toes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Old business, hearing none. Moving on to new business, architect's report. Justin,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Continuing on the trend of the last couple of reports, this has all been about closeout. We have achieved the CO for the building. I think as many of you have seen be communicated from Adam. So we are in the process of pulling together the substantial completion certificate, as well as the itemization of the punch list, as well as reviewing some of the punch list closeout items. So that really is the substantial completion certificate is a little bit different than the certificate of occupancy in that it establishes the kind of formal handover of the building from Gilbane to the town. And that's what sets in the initiation of the warranty period, as well as when the insurances kind of switch over from the contractor's insurance to the town's insurance. So that's a very big milestone for the project. So congratulations. We have also been coordinating the completion of the FF&E deliveries and installs, as well as the playscapes. The playscapes are kind of at the beginning of the installation. So that will be work that's ongoing for the remainder of the month into the beginning of August. Otherwise, just working on closeout documentation, making sure that at the completion of the project, we have all of the O&M manuals, all of the punch list items have been reviewed when they're complete. And this is really the great part of the project. So thank you. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Hopefully I wasn't muted there.
No, it's very, very
Okay.
succinct. Appreciate that on a beautiful Monday afternoon. Moving on to construction managers. Zach, are you going to get some pictures? I mean, it's almost old news now, but
No photos tonight. Not much has changed, fortunately, over the past couple of weeks, which is always a good sign. But I'm talking just about where we currently are at on the project. Justin kind of alluded to it regarding the punch list. We're down to 11% of the items are still open. So 89% of all open items have been closed out. Work has been taken care of. The DAS system, or the cell booster, that's been roughed in. We completed that last week. So now we're tracking to be formally complete with the balance of the system actually commissioned and functioning middle of August. We're just waiting for some of the other parts and smarts for the system to come in so we can wrap that up and take care of all the final terminations in both the MDF and the IDF. Closeout, as Justin mentioned, is ongoing. So now that we have substantial completion for the project, we're collecting the warranties from the subcontractors, both the special warranties for equipment like the DOAS unit, and then also their general workmanship warranties as well. Owner trainings kicked off last week. We're holding owner trainings weekly now, typically every Wednesday. On some weeks, we have 2 training sessions. So those will be ongoing from now until we roll into August, wrapping up with the DAS system owner training. The sod is being installed tomorrow on Tuesday, and our landscaper has also brought out a large quantity of perforated pipes. So once the sod does go down, they're going to be running this system on top of the 30,000 square feet that we are putting on the east fields, just to make sure everything is maintained and watered as we continue through the summer. Functional testing of the different equipment throughout the building with BVH, we're 50% complete with the items completed. So similar to the punch list, we're just working through now the second half of items, and we're hoping to have the majority of those cleaned up well before the staff and students occupy the building this August. The Bolton 52 work, the door relocation over in quarter M 03. That should be wrapped up early next week. We took care of relocating the frame and the doors, and now we're just wrapping up the MEFP rough-ins for all the electrical and the security components associated with the door. So we're tracking to have that completed next week as well. And now that the FF&E move is substantially complete as of last week, with the exception of a few one-off items this week, like Promethean boards, we're also working with Peter and working with the town to use our cleaners just to set up another pass to go through all the rooms, the corridors, the common areas, just to hit those again before the school staff moves in this August. And then lastly, just clean up change items too with Colliers and Tecton. So a lot of work was completed, and we were moving pretty fast from April up until CO earlier this month. So just taking care of the change order side of the paperwork side of it too. But any questions regarding the construction update?
I have a question. At the beginning, you were talking about DAS systems. What's DAS stand for?
The distribution antenna system. So the cell
Oh.
booster. Yep.
Thank you.
Right. Yep. No problem. Any other
Any
questions?
other questions for Zach?
Great. Thank you.
Moving on to Adam. Any?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. As Justin and Zach alluded to, lots of completion of furniture and move items. And with that comes a lot of the, let's call it last mile type coordination items that arise. So, for example, principal and some of her administrative staff have been in the building, starting to get some things set up. So when you have the folks that are using the building come in and you have furniture and rooms, lots of coordination on where things are located, how things are actually going to function. So there's been the start, I'll call it the start of some of those coordination cleanup day 2 items. Do we need an additional chair or 2 in this room based on actual enrollments and actual staffing versus what was presumed at the development of the ed specs and as part of the design process. Same thing with some of the IT components, as well as kind of Zach alluded to, some of the cleanup change order ATPs that have been going sort of rapidly back and forth, and some of those items that were done as a function of getting into the certificate of occupancy phase of the building. So the good news is that C of O is, kind of think about it in 2 phases. C of O, certificate of occupancy, is your sort of legal ability to be in the building, and then substantial completion is your contractual ability for the town to take receipt. So as part of that is just a whirlwind of items where the whole goal that everyone's keeping in mind is how does the building operate as best as it can, get furnished as best it can, what have you, for the first day of school, now that we're sort of past the regulatory component of it and effectively the contractual component of it. When it comes to substantial completion, for anyone that's been in the building anytime recently, it's more or less looked like a fully finished operating school for a little while now, in terms of paint and finishes and all those good things. So we're working through with Tecton and Gilbane on mirroring the date of substantial completion with the certificate of occupancy, noting that that's effectively when the building was ready, and now we're just going through paperwork. So in terms of process, Tecton, as the architect, is finalizing the dollar value of items that are still remaining to be complete, and that will get baked into the certificate of substantial completion and then ultimately signed by Tecton, Gilbane, and Peggy as the town's representative to kind of memorialize that contractual component of it. So there's been some emails back and forth already with Peggy and her office, just to let them know that it's coming. With the town's insurance, the insurance is already bound, so that's all set, ready to go, and is made in force as of the 9th. So it's just, for all intents and purposes, crossing T's and dotting I's on this contractual milestone now that the occupancy has been gained. In terms of other bits I've got here on my notes, as Justin mentioned, playgrounds are you can, and if you've been on site, there are pieces of equipment set up. There are some pieces of equipment that have concrete and footings. We have fairly regular daily communications about last mile coordination items with the playground, so those continue to occur. And obviously, there's still a bit of a dance between some of the site cleanup items and the playground contractors, because they are separate entities between Gilbane and their subcontractors and the playground contractor. So for all intents and purposes, it can seem like, oh, they just got to do the playgrounds, but there's always work to make sure that gets done and done appropriately. So that's what a lot of the focus of the team is working through. And then, like I said, there's in the next coming meetings, I expect there to be a fair number of cleanup change orders requests. You kind of see another example on tonight's call with an item that was approved on an expedited basis for reference. So those are the things that we're trying to compartmentalize and make sure that we understand where everything's at and what needs to be approved and contracted for and completed before we get to the first day of school. So that I'll pause. Is any questions before we get into pretty short procurement and invoice section for this evening?
Any questions for Adam? Hearing none, we can move on to item number 5, which is also Adam's.
All right, beautiful. I will share my screen per usual. I can get it to show up. There we go. So for the on the docket for this evening from a procurement standpoint, there's just one item for reference and one item for vote in the motions. The item for reference is this approval that was made for $3,600 on an expedited basis for flags, 2x3 foot flags and flag poles throughout the building and all the educational spaces, which is a requirement by state statute. This is one of these smallware type items that often doesn't live in a neat and tidy bucket. So this proposal was approved by George and Peter on an expedited basis to keep this moving, so those could be installed in the next month or so before the first day of school. And then in terms
The
of
American flags or state of Connecticut flags for my,
the American flags.
Yeah.
For the motion, which is not related to that, but is related to the invoice packet, I have a motion here to increase the PO purchase order for Tri-State Materials Testing. They are our testing agency that you've heard about periodically throughout the project. Their final invoice put them $790.50 over their allowance as we had last approved it. So that's what this last motion is to increase their PO. So that way the invoice and the invoice packet has sufficient budget to get billed against.
got it. Yeah, I want to, someone want to make a motion?
I'll do it. I'll make the motion to increase the PO 202455658 for Tri-State Materials Testing by $790.50 for a new total of $180,790.50.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Beautiful, thank you. And then the invoice packet for this evening has the standard update from our commissioning agent, BVH Salas O'Brien. Another progress update from Navis and Young. That's I forgot to put this in parentheses, but they're the stormwater monitoring agent. So for some of the latest reports they've done. Presidio, I believe this is their last invoice for the wireless access points that were received. We are pursuing a potential, just to put this out there, a potential change order for additional wireless access points that may be needed through Presidio. So you may see them again shortly, but this should close out this particular set of services from them. Monthly update from Tecton. Those two invoices from Tri-State Materials that when in total, based on their availing budget, was the $790 overage. So that's why those are here. And then pay requisition 16 for Gilbane for just over 1.2 million for a total of just over 1.3 million. And Graham, before you ask, I believe Gilbane's at just about 89% build out on their total.
Read my mind. It's barely worth working on a job at $1 million a pop. It's was
I'm sure Nick Sacker would just write it off, no problem.
exactly. Would anyone like to make a motion? Adam, if you could pull up the motions.
Would you like me to read that, Graham?
I would very much like you to read it.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve invoice package dated 7/21/2025, including invoices from BVH, Nafis and Young, Presidio, Tecton, and Tri-State in the amount of $57,928.21, and construction payment requisition 16 from Gilbane in the amount of $1,268,268.04, for a total approval of $1,326,196.25.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. That's it.
Got it. Moving on to the next item.
Hey, Graham,
Yep.
I'm sorry, quick question. Adam, the Nafis and Young storm testing, we've had a lot of rain lately, a lot of precipitation. Can you just comment on has the property held up well? I know the lower part of the property is near the Neck River. How is that all held up?
I'll speak a bit, and then maybe Zach can also add, because he's there all day, every day. But I've heard no issues reported in any of the Nafis and Young reports. I personally have not seen any issues, even with last Thursday, where the playground installer is actively on that east side, and I know that the site civil contractor was doing some fine grading over in anticipation of the sod. I didn't see any, big deep ruts, mud. So for all intents and purposes, from my, I'm not the expert that designed it or anything like that, but I've not heard any complaints about it performing. Zach, I don't know if you see anything on your end.
Yeah, the update on my end. So we finished the last bit of grading last week. We brought out a special machine to do all the laser grading prior to the hydro seed that was scheduled for over there, and then also the sod going down this week. So we completed the seed in the north over in the geofield. The southeast portion of the east fields is not getting the sod, and then also the entire perimeter alongside the far east portion of the field too, just so everything was at a minimum sprayed right now prior to the sod going down. And then, as I was mentioned earlier on my update too, all 30,000 square feet of the sod will go down tomorrow, and then the entire east will then be watered with the additional perforated pipes. But everything's been holding up well. We didn't remove all of the silt fencing until late week of 7/7, so I think the balance of it was taken out on Monday the 14th. So really all that was removed just within the past 7 calendar days, but no issues as of right now. No overrun.
Great, thank you.
Got it. Thanks, Tess. Moving on to number 7, public comment. Do we have any other public members of the public with their hands raised?
No.
Got it. Moving on to item number 8, remarks. Any comments, questions, general remarks anyone would like to make?
Mm-mm.
Beautiful. Moving on, would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I would love to make that motion to adjourn.
Second, Woody, second it.
Sure, I'll second
All in
that.
favor? Aye.
Aye.